You know, my brother used to say, the years won't matter, the years never matter. It is always the quality that outweighs quantity in everything that you see, whether it is a kilo of vegetables, whether it is the time spent in a relationship, whether it is what you have accomplished over a period of time, the kind of profession you're pursuing. I can give you so many more examples. And I have always lived by that because I believe that it is tough to lead a life which has quality, which has a plush texture. Because quantity, a person can live up to be 95, 100, maybe even more. The question is, how many years did they really live and not exist? So the same thing applies in friendship, because you may not have several years together, but you may have known a person in a short period of time and click just like that. Happens to me all the time. Now, I'm going to give you an example of something which, well, it happened to a very dear friend of mine, and she was completely shuddered after this incident occurred. This is an example of something, a real life incident which occurred with a very close friend of mine. This is to warn you, to forewarn you that expect dormant vindictiveness to overshadow years of friendship, because sometimes you never know what the person is thinking in their minds and how they change, and they may not share how they really are. Anyways, this friend of mine had gone to a new station, and she needed to stay at somebody's place for a couple of days, and we were not in touch for a few weeks. When finally we got together and when we sat down to talk, she broke down. And when I asked her what happened, she narrated the whole incident to me. Here goes. A couple, they welcomed her to stay with them for 3 or 4 days, and this lady gave her such a tough time for no reason at all, and she didn't really have any place to go. So I was really angry. I said, why didn't you call me? You should have called me. We would have arranged for a place to stay. And she said, no, my self-respect, that would have hurt my pride, and you knew her, you would have had a bad impression about her. I was trying to protect her in our circle of friendship, because everybody knows her and people will say, oh my God, what kind of a person is this? So I contacted this lady and I told her, how could you do this? This lady has never harmed a fly in her life. How could you do this to her? What did she do? Do you know what she said? She said that at some point in time, many years ago, the person that she's seeing right now, the friend of mine who was staying in this lady's house, that gentleman had given her and her husband a tough time. So she needed to take it out somewhere. And because my friend was readily available, she chose to torture her mentally, and it was awful. So don't be surprised if it actually happens in real life, because, well, I've heard it from someone who didn't deserve it, but it did happen to her. Now, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about friendship here? Or are we talking about fiendship? I'm a firm believer of one fact. Only when there is the utmost pressure on a person, and when there is no supervision, the person has independence to do whatever they want to do, that is when their true colors come out. Here is a story that might rattle your nerves a bit, but I'll try to make it as quick and short and come to the point as possible. Again, I don't know why I'm giving examples of women, but, well, don't kill me. But this lady was a very, very simple human being, and she was a very down-to-earth, sorted-out sort of a person, universally loved and liked. She met a gentleman and they fell in love. They got married, and this gentleman he passed away, unfortunately. And suddenly, the independence that the lady had drove her absolutely crazy, in the sense she was composed, and she was attending parties in the most atrocious of outfits. She was seeing as many people as she possibly could see, and everywhere her reputation reached before her, till finally the family that she was married to. India is a very conventional country in terms of traditions and customs, and even though the gentleman wasn't alive anymore, the married name of the lady was retained. So obviously the family is going to be concerned because their name is going to be dragged through mud. So when the family contacted her, she very clearly said that I have the right to lead the kind of life I want to lead. I will not change my name. And just to make sure that none of you check me or ask me to try and lead a nice, decent life, I'm going to talk badly about you. The next thing you know, this lady goes around spilling all kinds of nonsense, spinning every possible web you can think of. I mean, even a tarantula would probably decide not to spin a web as complicated and as nasty as hers. And when I met this family, I spoke to them at length, and the elder brother of the gentleman who passed away, a very wise person, very close to my age, do you know what he said? He said, if my brother would have been alive, she would not be allowed to do 99.9% of the things that she is doing now. In his absence, her true colors have come out. We are very happy not to associate with her, because she is going down, but none of us are going down with her. What do you call this? Do you call this friendship or fiendship? Because if that person's character, if the person had the respect and the quality that was required of her in her married life, do you really think that all this would have happened? I don't think so. So, well, friendship wise, I would advise that this should have been something which should have been nipped in the bud. A certain amount or a certain degree of control should have been maintained, and of course dignity is something which is with us, in us. You don't play with it, and you don't misuse it. You know, friendship is a beautiful relationship. We're all wired different, so sometimes a friend could turn out to be a fiend. It doesn't mean that you cease making friends, it just means that you be selective, which is very important, because you need to know who is this person who you can have around you, to be honest when you require, to be supportive when you require, because these are all requirements that can come on the outside, and only when that happens are you going to feel like you belong in the company of someone, of a good friend. That is the actual definition of a good friend. Someone who is there for you no matter what, rain or shine. If you're selective about your friends, it doesn't make you snobbish, it just makes you smart. Now, fiendship, or a fiend is someone who is not a very nice person to associate with, who is mean, who is who keeps things in their heart and chooses to use people. So please don't mix both the things. Friendship is what we require. Let's all be friends. It's a great world. There are really good people out there. And fiendship, if you practice vindictiveness, and if you practice being mean, it will eventually come back to you, because like I keep saying, we are a manifestation of what we think, how we think, and what we want. Now, the next topic that we are going to talk about is so very interesting that I'm going to spend a great degree of time and thought into coming up with a very interesting script. It is called the Karma Hopscotch. So I'll see you next Friday at 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Till then, Be good, lots of love, and stay blessed. Bye now.